Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is deceptively simple.
Right.
We are analyzing the universal, sort of foundational language and experience of our modern digital lives.
Mm-hmm.
We looked at a bunch of sources that really break down technology and social media use into its most basic parts. You know, the things we all do, say, and struggle with every single day.
Yeah.
We're not talking about quantum computing or AI ethics here. We're talking about the universal routine.
And what's so fascinating is precisely that simplicity. The sources we looked at, they're conversational. They're not dense technical manuals.
No jargon.
No jargon at all. It's more of a sociological look at how technology really defines our day-to-day.
Okay.
The value isn't in some new theory of information science. It's in recognizing how universal our patterns are. We're talking about the rituals that define how almost everyone interacts with that little glass rectangle in their pocket.
Okay, so let's unpack that and set the stage for this deep dive. We all know that feeling of being constantly on, right?
Yeah, that low-grade hum.
Exactly. But what our sources highlight is the fundamental shift that's causing this feeling. The core finding is that the main piece of tech, the phone, it's not just a single tool anymore. It's moved way past that.
Exactly. It has become, well, the central nervous system of modern life. It's a complete replacement for multiple, totally distinct aspects of life.
How so?
I mean, if we look across everything we do, the phone has absorbed and centralized the functions of work, learning, and relaxation completely.
Right. We used to have separate tools for those things, separate locations, even separate times a day.
And now they're all just in one device.
That centralization, that convergence of those three major life categories, that's the real insight here.
It is.
It's not just for convenience. It's a consolidation of control that shifts our dependency from all these scattered tools to one fragile machine.
And that's why it demands our constant engagement. It communicates, it organizes, and it basically controls the flow of our entire day.
So if we start with that premise of centralization, let's explore its scope, because that sets us up perfectly for section 1.
Yeah.
The ubiquity of this all-in-one device.
Let's do it.
So the sources, they immediately confirm the obvious, but it's still profound. The scope of use. People use their phones all day.
And that's not just, casual exaggeration. It's almost a clinical statement of how integrated it is into our schedule.
Yeah. The phone doesn't just sit on a shelf waiting for you to need it. It's in our hands, our pockets. It's always within arm's reach.
It's true. The whole concept of picking up a phone for one specific task and then putting it down, that's pretty much obsolete. It's a constant accessory.
Or an extension of yourself, really.
It is. And the common uses mentioned in the sources, checking messages, taking pictures, watching videos, they seem basic, but they represent the 3 pillars of modern engagement.
Let's break those down, because they really are the foundation here. Checking messages isn't just a friendly hello. It's this constant stream of social maintenance, professional obligation in group chats, essential info sharing. Just never ends.
The sheer volume of these simple actions is staggering. And taking pictures, that's become so integrated, it fundamentally changes how we experience things.
What do you mean?
Well, we often experience events not just to enjoy them, but to archive them or create potential content. It turns personal memory into digital documentation.
That's a great point. And then watching videos. I mean, that covers everything from a quick entertainment clip to, a long-form documentary.
Right. It's the replacement for the newspaper, the TV, casual conversation, all rolled into one. It's your instant portal for relaxation and distraction.
So if we dig a little deeper into this idea of the phone as a digital Swiss Army knife, we can see how completely it's absorbed older technologies.
The sources call out 3 specific and incredibly powerful items that the phone has just entirely replaced for daily use.
And those 3, which pretty much govern our entire day, are the alarm clock, the calendar, and the personal computer.
Think about that for a second. The depth of that replacement. Imagine trying to navigate your morning just 15 years ago without those 3 things centralized.
Impossible.
The alarm clock dictates the absolute start of your day. Without it, you sleep in. Simple as that.
Then the calendar takes over. It governs your meetings, your appointments, all your future planning. If you lose your calendar, you lose your schedule.
You could lose your job.
Exactly. And that used to be a separate paper planner or a desktop program.
And finally, the personal computer. Now, sure, we still use laptops for heavy-duty work, like graphic design or something.
Right.
But the phone has completely absorbed the daily computing tasks. checking your bank balance, paying bills, quick document edits, just looking up info online.
I would say for most people, the phone has absorbed, what, 90% of the computing they do between 9 and 5?
Easily. And that centralization gives the phone this almost inescapable gravity. I think you're right. The replacement of the computer is the most profound part of it all.
Yeah. It's not a convenience. It's essential infrastructure. You can't afford to lose it or ignore it. If you do, you lose your schedule, your main connection to work, and your main contact with the world.
Exactly. And the sources connect this all back to those three core verbs we mentioned earlier. Phones now explicitly help us work, learn, and relax.
A clear three-part framework. For work, it's email and scheduling. For learning, it's finding reviews or reading the news. And for relaxation.
It's the videos and the funny pictures.
So the implications of failure are just magnified. If the phone fails, it's a triple threat. Your job suffers, your learning stops, and your main way to unwind just disappears.
Which explains why the anxiety around a dead battery, which we'll get to later, is so visceral. You're not just losing a device, you're losing the operational control structure of your whole day.
The depth of this integration is the key takeaway here. It's not a tool we use.
No.
It's the central organizing principle of modern life. Which brings us to the first, and maybe most difficult, moment of the day. The morning ritual.
Where this centralization immediately takes control.
Since the phone holds the keys to our time and our productivity, it's no surprise that it immediately seizes control of the one moment we think we own, the minute we wake up.
Yes.
And diving into these daily habits, the source material points to a universal sequence that it immediately shows our dependence. What's the first thing we all do?
It's the logical, seemingly innocent entry point. Checking the time.
Right. It's a leftover function from the old alarm clock.
But it's the gateway drug. It requires you to pick up the device, look at the screen, and that activates the entire system.
And that single action immediately exposes you to the second step.
Looking at messages.
Exactly. You go from needing simple, objective information, what time is it, to engaging with external obligations. Who needs me? What happened overnight?
That's the tripwire. Control is lost the second that screen lights up.
The sources capture this cognitive trap perfectly. The quote was, I always say just 1 minute, and then 20 minutes pass.
We've all been there. The intention is so small, just clear the notifications, but the system is designed to capture and hold that attention for much longer than you intended.
The cost of checking the time is suddenly a 20-minute focus debt before you've even had a sip of coffee.
And let's be honest, 20 minutes is a very conservative estimate for a lot of people.
Definitely. The psychological mechanism here is the endless feed, and it's built for exactly this purpose.
That initial message check shows a notification, which leads to opening an app, which then shows a visually stimulating feed. That feed demands to be scrolled. The 1-minute intention is just obliterated by design.
Can we use an analogy to explain why that's so sticky?
Yeah, absolutely. Think of it like a slot machine.
Okay.
You don't win on every single pull, but you win just enough. And the reward, the funny video, the interesting post, is unpredictable. The algorithm knows you don't like every video, but it gives you just enough good ones, unpredictably, to keep you swiping.
So it's that variability that's the engine of the addiction loop.
Exactly. You keep pulling the lever, or in this case, scrolling the screen, because the next hit might be just one swipe away.
It's that constant expectation of novelty or reward that makes the 1-minute lie so powerful. The system is just exploiting a fundamental human need for new information.
And this continuous state of distraction is why trying to break the habit so often fails. The sources describe an attempt, no phone for 1 hour.
Right. But did it work?
The simple answer was no, not really. And this isn't just a failure of willpower. It's a direct consequence of the device's comprehensive utility, which we just established.
That's the critical tension. If the phone is your alarm, your calendar, your work schedule, saying no phone for 1 hour is like saying, I'm going to voluntarily detach from the operating system of my life for 60 minutes.
That's a fundamentally difficult, almost impossible thing to do in modern life.
You need to check your calendar for the day's schedule. You need to read that important work email that came in overnight.
All on the phone. If the device only handled relaxation, a break would be easy. But because it handles work, learning, and relaxation, separating ourselves becomes nearly impossible.
So the just 1-minute trap works because the phone can satisfy 3 essential needs at the same time, all within the first minute you're conscious.
And that habit of starting the day with such high volume engagement just sets the pattern. The phone dictates the pace of the whole day.
You're immediately reactive, answering the world's demands instead of setting your own intention.
It's a state of continuous reactive engagement, which really defines how we consume content once we're actually logged on.
Which brings us to Section 3. Moving on to consumption, the sources give us a really clear picture of user priorities. They highlight two dominant platforms for very distinct purposes, YouTube and Instagram.
The preference for YouTube is immediately tied to specific informational content, things like travel videos, cooking videos, and tech reviews.
So that aligns perfectly with the learn aspect of the phone's utility.
Exactly. Users aren't just looking for random time killers. They're seeking targeted knowledge, step-by-step guides or detailed information.
So YouTube is treated as this on-demand specialized tutorial library.
Travel videos feed curiosity, cooking videos offer practical skills, and tech reviews directly inform what you're going to buy. It's utility disguised as entertainment.
And then in sharp contrast, Instagram is centered entirely on visual and immediate entertainment, pictures and funny videos.
This one is squarely in the relax function. It's a rapid, high-impact emotional burst designed for quick consumption. Less about deep learning, more about a quick mood boost.
But this is where we hit the core disparity in modern digital activity. The scroll versus the post. What really stands out is how passive we are.
Yes. The overwhelming activity described is consumption. Users mostly watch other people's posts and openly admit, I scroll too much.
So the ratio of content consumption to content creation is just dramatically skewed.
We are overwhelmingly spectators. The digital life for most people is characterized by watching the performance of others.
So social media is a professional stage for a tiny percentage of users, the creators, and a mass viewing arena for everyone else. We're mainly an audience.
And the analysis of the scrolling habit itself is, well, it's painfully relatable. It's that compulsion to say, one more video.
Which the source explicitly notes never stops.
That simple, innocent phrase is a window into the entire business model of the attention economy.
The moment you make that internal promise, you've already failed.
One more video is the digital slot machine working exactly as intended. The feed is algorithmically personalized, meaning the platform is constantly studying your habits, your pauses, your reactions.
So it gets extremely effective at presenting the most engaging content to you next. It optimizes to keep you there.
That mechanism of continuous personalized reward is what makes it so structurally difficult to disengage. And the cost of that, of course, is time.
If you're always seeking one more video, 20 minutes passing is, like we said, a very conservative estimate. It could easily be an hour.
And the sources don't mince words about the consequences. The explicit conclusion drawn is that social media is very addictive.
And that isn't hyperbole. It's the realization that the platform mechanisms, the personalized feeds, the variable rewards, are specifically designed to hook you.
Right. It makes voluntary disengagement a constant battle against the software itself.
It's that cycle of seeking novelty that fuels the device's constant presence. And that constant presence requires a specific language for managing our interactions, which leads us to emotional shortcuts.
Emojis?
Yes, Section 4, the language of digital feelings. But before we get to emojis, let's quickly set the foundation beyond the scroll.
Okay.
Our sources identify these core communication activities, checking email and chatting with friends.
The functional mainstays. Professional communication happens over email. Social connection happens through chat.
Right. And then add to that the learn principle habits. Reading news online and listening to English podcasts. This establishes a baseline of constant text-based interaction.
And this high volume of text interaction creates a critical problem. The complete absence of tone.
Body language, vocal inflection, facial expressions.
All gone. We lose almost all nonverbal cues. And that's where the emoji steps in, acting as an essential emotional shortcut.
They really are the universally understood visual punctuation of the internet age.
Yeah.
They're essential for showing your intent and feeling.
They're an instant tone indicator. They prevent so much miscommunication. A simple dry text like, okay, can be interpreted in a dozen different ways without one.
From professional acceptance to, outright passive aggression.
Absolutely. And the sources highlight the most common positive examples. The smiling face, the face with tears of joy, the thumbs up, the red heart, and the rolling on the floor laughing face.
What's fascinating is why this specific set became so universal. They're not arbitrary.
No, they're not. These 5 emojis cover the essential tools of digital affirmation and warmth.
They signal affirmation with the thumbs up,
Happiness with the smile,
maximum amusement with the laughing one.
and affection with the heart.
They are functional, necessary tools for maintaining warmth and positive social rapport online.
Exactly. They let conversations move at the speed of chat while keeping emotional clarity.
But the analysis also shows that not all emojis are treated equally. The sources identified two specific emojis that users commonly avoid, which shows where digital etiquette or cultural context comes in.
This is where digital language meets collective cultural understanding. First, the clown emoji.
Right. The source says it's avoided because it's perceived as scary.
It's interesting how far the clown has moved from its innocent circus origins. Online, it's accumulated all these negative connotations.
It's often used to imply someone is being foolish or acting inappropriately. Using it can inject this unsettling or sarcastic tone.
So people just avoid it to keep communication clear and positive.
And the second avoided emoji is the eggplant.
Which the sources say is avoided for reasons. This perfectly illustrates the power of digital communities to just appropriate symbols.
For anyone learning about this, it's a crucial insight. The eggplant has totally transcended being a simple vegetable.
It's a clear example of how digital groups can quickly assign secondary, often suggestive, meanings to innocent symbols. It creates an instant shared language.
It separates the digitally fluent from the outsider.
And that shared understanding becomes a powerful shortcut. It's an inside joke that's gone global.
So knowing when to use a heart and when to absolutely avoid the eggplant is as critical to digital fluency as mastering grammar.
Truly, emojis are critical components of our communication structure. And when that essential structure fails, frustration is inevitable.
Which brings us to the most universally shared experience, the paradox of help. Our sources noted that technology helps us immensely, but that same reliance
Can also make us crazy. It's the price we pay for total integration.
This deep reliance means that even minor failures trigger disproportionate stress.
Well, of course. Since the phone is our connection to everything, work, learning, relaxation, any disruption feels like a catastrophic failure of your day's infrastructure.
We've outsourced so much control that small glitches feel like existential threats.
Yeah.
So let's look at the three main anxiety points from the source material. First, major stressor, connectivity stress, slow Wi-Fi.
Specifically, the source mentions the frustration when a video stops and loads forever.
That hits hard because it just challenges our expectation of immediacy. We're conditioned to instant gratification for everything online.
And when that stream breaks, it's a jarring, unwanted pause, and that stress is multiplied if you're relying on that Wi-Fi for a work call or something critical.
Right. The video stopping is an irritation. The connection failing during a presentation is a crisis.
The frustration isn't just the waiting, it's the total lack of control over an essential service. We just expect data to flow.
Okay, the second major pain point is power failure. The terror of the phone battery dying at the worst time.
Battery anxiety is a genuinely new, universal digital stressor.
This is the ultimate system failure. It confirms our dependence. When the battery dies, all those functions we talked about, the alarm, the calendar, the computer, they all cease at once.
It's an instant declaration of social unavailability and navigational incompetence. You're just gone.
And the worst time could be anything. Being lost without GPS, not being able to access a digital ticket, or not being able to call for help.
It's an instant, total disconnection. We literally plan our lives around finding charging ports now, a necessity that previous generations never even thought about.
And finally, software failure. The frustration when apps crash or freeze.
This feels like a minor betrayal, doesn't it? A betrayal of the trust we place in these complex systems to just work.
It's the third pillar of failure. We've covered hardware, the battery, and connection, the Wi-Fi. Software failure is when the internal logic just breaks.
And when an app crashes, it doesn't just halt one function. It often forces a system reset, wastes your time, and you might lose unsaved information. It reminds you these seamless devices are still fundamentally flawed machines.
So connecting back to you, the listener, these simple problems, slow videos, dead batteries, frozen apps, they're not just tech glitches.
No, they are universal anxiety triggers that define the hidden stresses of modern life.
Specifically because our simple phone carries the entire weight of our daily organization, our relationships, and our professional lives.
The source summarizes it perfectly. Technology helps us, but it can also make us crazy. That tension is the defining feature of our relationship with this all-in-one device.
And to manage all this, we need a common, concise language, which brings us to the most practical section of this deep dive, our essential digital vocabulary.
Let's do it.
We're shifting now to a summary of the practical language needed to navigate these digital realities. How do we talk about these universal frustrations and habits?
These phrases are the foundational linguistic tools you need to request help, describe failure, or start a connection in the digital age. We use them dozens of times a week without even thinking about it.
Okay, let's start with device and connection issues, the technical vocabulary. These are the immediate cries for help when the machine fails.
First up, my phone is dead. This is so much more than a technical status report.
Right, it's a statement of complete and immediate social and functional incapacitation.
When you say this, you're declaring you're unavailable. It's an apology and a warning in 3 words. It demands immediate action. Find a charger.
Second, I need Wi-Fi. This is a statement of functional necessity. It's like a modern human right.
It is. It acknowledges that your cellular data is insufficient for your current needs. It usually prompts a search for a hotspot or asking for a password.
Third, the app is not working.
Yeah.
A simple, clear diagnostic. This pinpoints a software failure.
It signals a roadblock. It implies you've already tried the basic fix, like closing and reopening it.
And fourth, I can't connect. This is the broader connectivity failure statement. It covers everything from a weak Wi-Fi signal to cellular problems.
It communicates isolation, it's a barrier preventing interaction, and it usually requires someone else's help to solve.
Okay, now let's move to communication and sharing the social vocabulary. These are the building blocks of daily digital interaction.
How we coordinate and exchange information as quickly as possible.
First, can you send me the link? This has to be the most common request for shared information.
It acknowledges that the main way we direct attention online is through hyperlinks. We bypass describing something in favor of instant access. It's a demand for efficiency.
Second, I'll text you. The definitive statement of communication initiation. It establishes an immediate, direct, and casual interaction.
And it sets the expectation for a quick reply.
Third, I'll follow you. This is the primary verb of building a digital relationship on social platforms.
It means subscribing to another user's content stream. It's the formalization of your interest. Digital patronage, basically.
Fourth, can you like my post? A direct request for social validation.
A necessary phrase in the attention economy. Engagement metrics determine visibility and value. It's asking a passive user to become active, to give a transactional piece of digital affection.
And finally, I'll send you a message. A little more formal, maybe, than I'll text you.
It often refers to DMs on a specific platform. It promises forthcoming communication and manages expectations.
So these simple phrases show we've developed this incredibly concise, functional language just to maintain our connectivity and manage the frustrations of the all-in-one device.
They are the linguistic tools that make this hyper-connected life manageable.
So we started by analyzing foundational habits, and what we found is that digital life is defined by this profound centralization of utility.
Your work, your learning, and your relaxation, all on one single device.
And this centralization has created predictable rituals, like the automatic morning scroll and these shared universal anxieties, from slow Wi-Fi to the terror of a dead battery.
It's a powerful realization. These simple phrases and actions, which we rarely even stop to analyze, form the entire foundation of how we organize our work, our leisure, and our relationships now.
The phone hasn't just changed how we do things.
No, it has centralized the operational control of our entire existence onto one small, fragile screen.
And we learned that attempts to take a break often fail, mostly because the device is just too critical to our lives to be absent for long.
The addiction loop, powered by that one more video compulsion and algorithmic personalization, is just structurally difficult to break once you start scrolling. You're fighting system design, not just your own willpower.
So we'll leave you with a final provocative thought based on that difficulty of disengagement.
Okay.
Since we know that saying no phone for 1 hour is almost impossible, and since the first minute you wake up is currently dedicated to checking the time and then immediately reading messages, what small, non-digital habit could you insert into that first minute?
Something that briefly reclaims your attention and sets a personal intention even for just 60 seconds before the pull of the messages and the scroll begins.
A tiny analog action like stretching, drinking a glass of water, or just sitting in silence for a moment to interrupt that automatic digital ritual.
And reclaim control of that critical first minute. Something to think about as you navigate the constant connectivity of your all-in-one device. We hope this deep dive gave you some new perspective on your own universal habits.
Until next time.